Good morning, YouTube. We're back for another video. I'm fucking loving the YouTube grind and getting a lot of good feedback as well. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna take you guys through my current upper body workout. Now, I'm also gonna take you guys through kind of the things I look for when structuring an upper body workout. So I'll just record mine, face cam it over, voice over. Not on the road, is there? Obviously put my face cam there, voice over like I always do, and kind of explain the cues and what I'm thinking about with each muscle group I train, trying to get the most out of it, progression wise, sensation wise, all that sort of stuff. So we can all get jacked, right? That's why we're all here. And then afterwards, I'm just sort of going to digress and dissect on how to structure your own upper day. So there's obviously a few things you want to look out for. Most people don't need to prioritize anything in particular. They just need more size everywhere. But there are things to look for when, accounting for an upper day, such as like exercise layout, prioritization, all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a good one, little short intro today because it is freezing outside. And then I will see you guys in the car before the gym. I'm going over my workout for the day. Then we'll go from there, strap in, it's going to be a good one. Let's do it. All right, we're sitting in the car. Can you hear the heater? It's fucking roaring. Upper day today. So day one, technically, of the split is upper. And this is the session break that I'll put it on screen as always. So exercise number one. Can I fucking set this thing up somewhere? Let's see how this looks. All right, that's not bad. Hopefully, hold on. Oh my God, play of the century. All right, exercise number one is a single arm lat pull down on the Nautilus. All right, I really like doing lats before chest or back before chest. I'll get to that when I cover the workout. So exercise number one, single arm lat pull down, 2 sets there, a top set of 6 to 10, a back off of 8 to 12. Then we move into a high incline Nautilus press. It's technically a shoulder press machine. I like doing it for the upper pecs by sliding down on the seat, bringing the seat height up and really keeping the elbows tucked. 2 sets there again, top set of 6 to 8 this time, back off of 8 to 10. And then we move into the final back exercise, which is a chest supported wide grip T-bar row. 1 set there, 6 to 8, back off 8 to 10, really just gripping and fucking ripping it. Then finishing off the chest with a seated clavicular fly, not clavicular, with a seated cable fly. Again, basic like meat and potato exercise. Then we move in to the shoulder component of the workout. 3 sets of a lying lateral raise with the cuffs. That's the only kind of side delt exercise I do so much in this program. I hit that 3 times a week. Then the arm portion of the workout, 2 sets of an overhead extension with the cable. I use the easy bar. The rope just kind of gives me pain. Simple. And then finishing off the workout with 2 sets of an elbow supported dumbbell hammer curl. Basic movements. Basic movements that you just get strong as fuck at over time. Refining your form, refining the execution, the intensity. That is what it takes to grow. And I just find for me, the enjoyment factor of working out is what's going to get you results. I made most of my gains doing like a modified bro split. Now we know due to literature, information, knowledge, all that sort of stuff, a bro split is not exactly the best way to go about it. But the key thing was I was excited to go train. It made me get in there and it made me push myself. And that's what it's going to come down to. Realistically, unless you train like a literal fucking idiot, like I mean an idiot, you're going to grow. It doesn't matter what approach you take. I am more of a fan now, the more advanced I get and the harder you can push to failure and your proximity to failure. You don't need as much in a workout. Hence why now I like the kind of high frequency, lower volume approach. For example, I'm doing 6 sets of quads a week, 4 on one day, 2 another day, and I'm wrecked. 6 sets. Some people do 4 sets just alone on leg extension. 4 sets of quads is my whole leg workout. Do you know what I mean? So the more advanced you get, you definitely don't need as much. This time in my lifting career journey, I'm very much so a fan of splitting things up. But that's the workout. I'm going to record all of our sets. But without further ado, it's Monday. Let's get in there. Let's have a good workout. Let's start the week strong. And we'll go from there. Let's fucking rip in. All right, upper day, starting with the warm-up first. Yes, I got a mic. So I always start any upper body day with some external rotations. I have severely fucked this rotator cuff in the past. Xander, you're probably not watching this. It fucked it, right? I had bursitis, everything. So I always start with external rotations. As you can see, I literally just leave the cable and my elbow resting against my side. And I really just try and focus on rotating. You feel that nice burning sensation at the back there. Always do about 8 to 10, 8 to 12. Honestly, you should do a bit more now that it's cold in winter. But both sides, 100%. Believe me, if you're not already prioritizing your warm-ups, especially the more advanced you get, the heavier load you're going to lift in winter, you are literally putting a halt on your progression for no reason. So again, taking my time, feeling that really nice burning sensation on the back of my shoulders. Then I'll always raise the cable height up, so I'll do it laterally, then I'll always do it upright as well. Again, you want to cover all bases. You cannot make good progress if you are always injured. Take it from me, someone who used to just jump into their top sets without even warming up. Okay, so same sort of thing, locking the elbow in place laterally parallel by my side, and then just rotating back, feeling that really nice kind of flare up burn in there. It is annoying, it is boring, but what's more boring and what's more annoying is being fucking injured every 3 days. Trust me, okay? Save 5 minutes of your workout to save you the next 3 years of progress. Believe me. All right, so taking it nice and slow, getting as much blood in there. Also getting into the zone mentally, listening to music, which I'll touch on that as we go through this workout. Really important to really get in the zone before your sets. Again, for most of you watching this, 90% of my audience, you guys are more the intermediate to advanced, and you guys want to make more progress. Take your time with your warm-ups. Then, because it's obviously upper day, we're training back, and I normally do this every time I hit back and chest. I'll explain in a bit, okay? I always make sure, I couldn't find the fucking pin because it fell off. I always make sure I do some form of lat isolation, okay? We are training back in this workout, so we want to get some blood in there, but your lats are the stabilizers for your chest. You ever see big level, high level Olympic athlete powerlifters, when they're doing their bench press, they always do some form of pull down, lat row, lat pull over to warm the lats up and get blood in there. Think of them as like your platform, your base, your foundation to give you a really nice platform to stretch off. So this is nothing crazy, anywhere from 5 to 10 reps. It's cold again, so I'm trying to warm up. All I'm doing is a lat pull over, keeping that tension on my lats, 5 to 10 reps each side. When you train a muscle, you have the agonist muscle, which is working, contracting, all that sort of stuff. Then you have the antagonist, which is relaxing. So with a bicep curl, perfect example. Your bicep's the agonist, your tricep is the antagonist, and it's relaxing. If we can pump up and warm up the antagonistic muscle group when we go and do our working muscle, the agonistic muscle group, you're going to have more power. You're going to be able to generate more force within your sets because both sets of muscles are warm. You also feel much nicer pressing off a really solid base, all right? And then I just do some simple shoulder work as well, side raises, front raises. Believe I only did side raises in this again. I just like to get warm, nothing crazy, probably fucking -5 RAR, like honestly, nothing intense. I just like to get stuff moving around the place, okay? Like I said, I always cop these little niggles because I never warmed up. I'd go straight into a warm-up set, okay? 3 minutes this clip goes for, 3.5 minutes this clip goes for. Is that really much out of your workout? No, okay? But those 3 minutes are going to set you up for a productive training week, training month, block, periodization, whatever you're doing, okay? So just some simple side raises. I normally do some fronts as well. Didn't really feel the need to do it today. Anyway, 5 to 10 reps, really getting primed. And throughout this, my music's blasting. I'm visualizing what weight, what reps I'm supposed to hit, what movement I'm doing, everything in my head. Again, those little 1%ers make a massive difference, all right? Believe me, take it from me. All right, next, this is actually, funnily enough, this video, you can clearly see the sorry not working or sorry out of order sign. I did not realize, and I full set the tripod up, getting ready to do it. Fuck, I'm an idiot. Anyways, first actual exercise. I normally do the Nautilus single arm pull down. We're going with the single arm cable lat pull down, obviously with the bench. So this is just the warm up sets. I always structure my warm up sets. I'll do about half of my working weight for 5 to 6 reps. Then I'll do 80% of my working weight for 1 to 3 reps again, depending on what I'm training and if it's a bigger movement. But the first proper working set of this single arm cable lat pull down. Okay, cues I like to think about here. Obviously, I'm doing my left arm first. All right, you can see, because we're doing single arm, the weight is kind of slightly on a side to where you're standing. It's not directly in front of you. So I like to kind of contour my body to whichever arm is working, in this case being the left, and all I am visualizing is driving that elbow down. Not curling through my forearm, just driving it down, kind of like the pullover. All right, and you can see, I am not overarching, overextending. I'm trying to keep as much tension on that lat as possible. I come up, and this is something I preach to my clients, I come up just before I feel the tension slip off, spending a little bit of time there, and then coming down. Looking back, I could have spent some more time in the stretch, but I don't do this movement often, so I'm not that upset. These actually felt great. I might actually add them in next block, okay? And using my opposing hand to brace myself into the bench as I'm driving it in. The pump from these was unreal. 2 sets there, a top set of 6 to 8, and then a back off of 10 to 15. Now, first big chest compound, the Nautilus shoulder press. I like treating it as a high incline top line press for the upper pecs. Okay, you can see elbows tucked 45 degrees, and you can see my chest and my pecs coming together as I press. We're being intentional with our training. We aren't just pressing weight vertically. Okay, I'm coming down, keeping the sternum high, breathing in, really pushing my feet through the floor and pressing up as hard as I can. So we did the lat pullovers first, then we went into a lat movement. Come time to do our heavy compound pressing movement of the session, I am primed. Okay, lats back, everything's pressed. I dead set had this rep and then my grip slipped off. I'm absolutely fuming, but we progressed on the back off there. A top set of 6 to 8 and then a back off of 8 to 10 there. Then we're warming up for our T-bar row. So again, I don't know what the fuck this angle is, but I've kept it in there for some reason. Then we move in to our warm-up set. Okay, now with warm-ups, we don't want to spend too much time with them. Okay, 1-2 reps max, just priming ourselves for our actual set. Here we go. All right, so this is one of the only movements where I'm not super anal about form. Obviously still controlled, but I'm not overarching in the stretch. I'm not over protracting. Me personally, I have really bad chronic neck issues. Every time I overextend on an upper back row and something as strict as a T-bar, it just flares my neck up really bad. So I'm still obviously stretching, protracting. My shit form is probably better than some people's good controlled form, but the cues here are just gripping it, ripping it, and absolutely squeezing those shoulder blades together. Okay, pulling it, squeezing it, being intentional, and then once I can't get any more full reps, I then move into some Kelso shrugs again, being careful not to over protract and flare my neck up. These were a top set of 6 to 8 and then a back off of 8 to 10. I do prefer the lower rep ranges. That is just me personally. All right, then moving into the fourth exercise, last chest movement of this workout, seated cable fly. You can do a pec deck, dumbbell fly. My gym has the cables and I like it, all right? Cues here because everyone butchers this movement. You do not need to over open and stretch out your arms to the point where your shoulder is literally doing a backflip, okay? Just come back far enough to where you feel the stretch, there's no delt tension, and you're roughly just behind your torso or in line with your torso, okay? Little pause there, letting the fibers recruit, and then I always think flex the chest and bring the arms through as one. It's not just an arm movement, okay? We're training our pecs, we're being intentional. So you can see through my grey jumper, my pecs are contracting together at the top, and I'm not coming too far back because my shoulder's just going to take over. One top set here, 6 to 10, back off of 10 to 15. The pump from these is fantastic. I like to bend the arms on the way down and then straighten them as I come forward, really shortening the pec. Okay, beautiful progression there. Pump was insane. Last rep absolutely shit itself. Then, shoulder portion, fifth exercise. We've got the cable cuff lying Y raise. In a busy gym, it's obviously going to be harder to do this, but if you do have the luxury of training at a quieter time or having this equipment available to you, definitely recommend this. This is the only shoulder movement I do. I hit shoulders 3 days a week, side delts. This is all I do. Progression has been rampant, okay? So lying back on the bench, I like to think traps down, shoulders down, flexing my lats on the way down so my traps don't take over, and then just dragging out. Obviously the bench for stability. We've got a top set here of 8 to 12, a back off of 10 to 15, and then I do a rest pause set after my second set or my 10 to 15 rep set, which is pretty much I hit failure on the set, I'll wait about 10-15 seconds, and then I go in again, getting in as much blood as possible. Because this is a smaller movement, progression is going to be slower, so adding in little intensity techniques, I'm a big fan of. Now, intensity techniques are not going to build you more muscle. They feel great, the pump's great, allows me to get more volume in and enjoy my training, so I'm going to keep doing them, okay? This felt like the longest set possible, but as you can see, I have not rushed any bit of the rep, okay? I'm exploding out of the hole, pausing, and coming down with a little bit of patience, and yeah, obviously struggling really hard for those last ones. Then, we've got 2 arm movements to finish the session. Again, staying locked in. What am I sipping on? 500 ml coconut water, 3 grams of salt in total, and 30 grams of dextrose. Our one tricep movement for this session is an overhead easy bar extension. You can use the rope. The rope just gives me wrist pain. I prefer the easy bar. Now, cues here. I love the flex of the bicep on the way down. Like we said before with the lats or the back and the chest, when one's working, one's relaxing. We're obviously working our triceps here as we extend. Now, when we come back, I will always make a note to flex my bicep, which is then going to switch this tricep on. Because remember, the bicep is relaxing for us to be able to use our tricep. So we flex our bicep on the way up. Our tricep is getting that really nice stretch overload stimulus. You're going to get the pump of your life and it's going to hurt. You're going to have to bite the ego, bite the bullet, and drop the weight. As you can see, I'm lifting a not bad amount of weight here. This is a top set of 6 to 10, and then I do a back of 10 to 15, just focusing on cramming my forearm and bicep together and extending out as hard as I can. Then, final exercise of this session, elbow supported hammer curl. I finally progressed on these cunts far out. They are stubborn, okay? Driving my elbow back hard into the lat pull down pad. That is what it's there for, okay? I prefer the stable movements so I can completely isolate whichever muscle I'm training. We've got another top set here is 6 to 10 and then a back off of 10 to 15. I like low and high rep ranges for arms, expose them to kind of both. But yeah, these felt absolutely sublime, okay? No body English, not rocking the weight up. I'm not trying to impregnate the air. All I'm thinking of is driving that wrist up to my shoulder and squeezing as hard as I can. On the way down, make note, this is maybe rep 7, rep 8. The pace hasn't changed. No part of the rep has changed. That is where people fuck it up. Their first few reps are good, and then they shit the bed and just start curling it when it gets hard and throwing shit around, okay? Finally progressing there. Look how long this rep took, okay? But you stay true to it, you don't change out movements, and that's simple as that. Then we've got some posing. So, not too bad. I think we're in week 16 of the growing phase, bulking phase, whatever. Only up maybe 3 kilos in total. Vascularity holding on, separation, detail, everything pretty good. Again, delts have always been a strong point for me because I used to spam lateral raises low. And then this pose, I actually surprised myself. Honestly, I used to hate doing the sort of most muscular pose, but fuck, starting to fill in the gaps, width looking pretty good, core still pretty good as someone who does store most of their body fat on their stomach. But yeah, shape is starting to come in, as you can see. I actually look like I train now, kind of look like a semi-bodybuilder. The X frame is there, the quads, the lats, just need more arms and delts. But overall, top session. And that's a wrap. If you guys like these sort of videos where I go over my workouts, kind of do a talk through, please let me know. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see. And we've got the mics now and a tripod. I built a career with a broken phone, muffled sound, but we're upgrading as always, okay? So I really want to do some mic'd up. So if you guys want to see that, anything like that regarding the mic, not the mic, whatever it is, that's a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to tuck in with some work and another monster, Israeli, and another ghost. I'll see you in the next one. Catch ya.